All right. Good evening. The February 18th regular board meeting is being recorded. Anyone wishing to observe the meeting may do so via AVUHSD's YouTube channel. Individuals may take photographs or record meetings provided the individual's conduct does not constitute a disruption, including obstructing the views of others. Roll call. Trustee Mann. Trustee Hughes.
Here.
Trustee Hernandez.
Here.
Trustee Sanchez.
Here.
And I am here. Are there any comments from the public on closed session items?
We don't have any comments on closed session at this time.
Okay, the Board of Trustees will go into closed session and reconvene the regular meeting at 7 p.m. All right, let's go ahead and reconvene the regular meeting.
Welcome to the annual Valley Union High School District Board of Trustees meeting. This board meeting is being recorded. Anyone wishing to observe the meeting may do so via AVUHSD's YouTube channel. Individuals may take photographs or record meetings provided the individual's conduct does not constitute a disruption, including obstructing the views of others. Those wishing to address items on the agenda and matters that are not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the AVUHSD board shall do so in person, complete a speaker form, and give it to the designee before the public comment portion of the meeting. The speaker form must be given to Ms. Orozco before the board president announces the item. Once the item has been called, we will no longer accept new cards. Ms. Orozco will call the individual's name to come up to the podium to provide their comments. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. The total time for public input on each item shall be limited to 20 minutes. Non-agendized items are limited to a total allotment of 20 minutes. Only one person is permitted to stand at the podium at a time. No speaker may relinquish a time allotment to another speaker. The district encourages members of the public to attend board meetings and to address the board concerning any item on the agenda or within the board's jurisdiction. The board does not prohibit public criticism of its policies, procedures, programs, services, acts, or omissions. Similarly, the board does not prohibit public criticism of district employees. Speakers are cautioned that no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments simply because those comments are made at a public meeting. Attendees are also reminded of the board's civility policy, Policy 1313. This civility policy requires that members of the district staff will treat parents and other members of the public with respect and expect the same in return. The district is committed to maintaining disruption-free board meetings. The board will not permit any disturbance or willful interruption of its board meetings. Persistent disruption by an individual or group are grounds to terminate the privilege of addressing the board. Persistent disruption by an individual shall be grounds for the board president to terminate the individual's privilege to address the board. The district promotes mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct among district board members, district employees, parents, and the public. The district seeks public cooperation with this endeavor.
All right, presentation of colors. Please stand for the presentation of colors. Mr. Sanchez, can you lead us in the pledge?
Right hand over your heart for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
All right, item number 4, PINCO meeting. Public comments from the floor. Are there any comments from the public for PINCO?
We don't have any comments from PINCO at this time.
B, purchase order schedule, Pinko. It's recommended that the Board of Trustees approve and authorize the purchases outlined on the attached schedule. I have a motion.
Motion.
Second? Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. 5A, reconvene regular meeting. 6, recognition, reports, public comments. All right, we'll go to A, Antelope Valley Union High School District and Academies of the Antelope Valley LCAP mid-year report. Dr. Grado.
Yes, in order to assess progress toward achieving the goals set in the LCAP, the state requires a mid-year update given to the board and the county office of education. So presenting the mid-year report is our Director of Educational Services, Dr. Will Laird.
All right, so Dr. Grado, we've, as the board, had the opportunity to already review it, but if you want to give us just some quick bullet points, you may. Oh, yeah. Oh, Dr. Laird, there you go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board cabinet. How quick bullet points do you want?
Ask Mr. Hughes.
We've all had a chance to read.
Great. Okay, I can open it up for questions.
No.
All my questions have been given to Mr. Nian.
Okay.
So I think we're good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and there is also one for AAV. You want to go ahead and just bypass that as well?
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 6B, ethnic studies curriculum development. Miss Dr. Great.
Yes, with the passage of AB 101, starting with the class of 2030, all graduates must complete at least one semester of ethnic studies. So we put together a committee of experts within our district to write curriculum in order to give our students a robust offering of courses. So I'd like to welcome up 3 of our members of that committee, Amy Bodner, Elisa Frias, and Baron Gardner.
Good evening, board and cabinet. My name is Amy Bodner. I'm a curriculum coordinator at the district office, and tonight I'd like to share our progress with ethnic studies. I have 2 colleagues with me, Elisa Frias and Baron Gardner. Both of them have written courses, taught courses, organized professional learning, and have presented at conferences on ethnic studies. Additionally, Elisa has published articles about ethnic studies, and both of them are on the committee. We want to share our implementation of AB 101, the ethnic studies requirement. AB 101 became a law in 2021. It requires our graduating class of 2030 to take an ethnic studies course. It also requires that schools begin offering ethnic studies by the 25-26 school year. The law says that ethnic studies can be a standalone course or can be embedded in other content areas. We do both. Now, Elisa is going to share some research that will expand upon ethnic studies and Baron will talk about ethnic studies in California. Hi, it's a pleasure to be with you tonight. I currently teach at SOAR Palmdale. I've been with the school district for over 20 years. We wanted to share some reasoning and logic and data behind why ethnic studies is so important. In addition to the AB 101 requirement, there's quite a bit of data about the advantages that students meet when they have access to these learning opportunities. We've linked just 2 from this presentation for you to look at, but there are many more that are easy to find. The first one is a Stanford study. It's a longitudinal study that looked at the benefits to students who took ethnic studies in 9th grade. Years later, it was found that these students had academic gains, improved attendance, and increased likelihood of college enrollment. The next one is from the National Education Association. This was a meta-analysis, so I found this really helpful. They looked at dozens and dozens of studies about ethnic studies. And they found that it was associated with positive academic and social outcomes for students. And so we share this information with you because we want you to understand how committed we are to the benefit towards students. Not only do we have the law behind us, but we also have evidence of what benefits students receive from having access to this curriculum that represents them, represents their culture, and gives them positive role models. I'm going to hand it over to Barron.
Good evening, Baron Gardner. Been in the district since 08. That's what, 17 years. I'm at AV. Now, so what is ethnic studies in California high schools? Now, ethnic studies, according to the ethnic studies curriculum model, focuses on the foundational disciplines, 4 foundational disciplines: African American, Chicano and Latino, Native American, and Asian American and Pacific Islander studies. These foundational disciplines are rooted in 4 key themes. 1 is identity, 2, history and movements, 3, systems of power, and social movements and equity. The 8 outcomes of teaching. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. 8 outcomes of teaching ethnic studies: pursuit of justice and equity, working towards greater inclusivity, furthering self-understanding, developing better understanding of others, recognizing intersectionality, promote self-empowerment for civic engagement, supporting community focus, and develop interpersonal communication. And we'll bring back Ms. Anderson.
In 2023, Dr. Jennifer Slater Sanchez formed the District Ethnic Studies Committee. And the purpose of the committee was to implement the Ethnic Studies Law, AB 101, and to plan how to use the Ethnic Studies grant funding. We meet monthly. Our team includes teachers, site admin, and district admin. Our committee has several goals. We manage the grant funding. We studied the Ethnic Studies model curriculum created by the State Department of Education. We meet the needs of our students by building further capacity in our faculty. We create teacher teams that build new courses aligned with the California state standards and AB 101. As we look toward our 25, 26, and 2030 benchmarks for implementation, we built a file of our current ethnic studies offerings. We'll show you that. We wrote new courses to align with AB 101. We connected with UC Riverside and offered ethnic studies certification to our teachers. We also designed collaborative days for our ethnic studies teachers and UC Riverside cohorts. Barron will explain more about certification and our committee.
All right, to receive UC Riverside Ethnic Studies certification, it requires successful completion of 2 courses. Those 2 courses are Teaching Ethnic Studies in the K-12 setting and Intro to the Study of Race and Ethnicity for K through 12. 50 teachers have earned certificates thus far. 30 teachers are currently enrolled in cohort 3, and we have another 30 in cohort 4. And if you take a look at our committee, you'll see we have several people here with ethnic studies focused degrees, including myself with a degree in Pan-African Studies, Mr. Francisco Gonzalez with a BA in Chicano Studies, Dr. Taylor in Film and Black Studies, And you just see a, a plethora of different areas, English communication, just looking at it, we have a really robust team with with various backgrounds.
I'm gonna go ahead and just ask a quick question, and then I think the board has been looking at this presentation, so maybe if you all have just specific questions. But where in this Ethnic Studies Committee is an Asian American representative? Do we have that? Because I don't, at least in the education part. Who's our Asian American expert on ethnic studies? Or Native
I
American?
don't know that we have an Asian American.
Or a Native
expert.
American?
I don't know about that.
Okay. I mean, I'm just looking at the education part of things. Okay. A question. So, in the effort just to move us forward.
I'd like to expand on that just a little bit.
Sure, yes.
So when we decided that we wanted to make sure that we were building capacity in our teachers because we want this to be as inclusive as possible. So that's why we decided to spend the grant money on the UC Riverside certification. So we made that available to all teachers in the district. And it was, hey, if you want to develop a new course, let us know. If you want to get more information and more education on this topic, let us know. So there certainly are gaps. There are still needs, which is why we are, like I said, building capacity within our teachers and why we're constantly open to hearing new course proposals.
Mhm. Yeah, because definitely, I mean, this is
Right.
something that I asked Mr. Nehan to bring forth because this is
Right.
an area that I'm really knowledgeable in and also passionate about. So just making sure that you and your team are letting the superintendent know if there's anything that we can do to help with recruiting the diversity, because and then looking at the course offerings, I mean, there's gaps, right? I mean,
Right.
African American history, there's 22 sections and there's only 5 in Chicano studies when 68% of our kids are of Latinx,
Right.
Latino,
Right.
background.
So just to let you know,
Go ahead.
we're a little ahead of the curve when it comes to, not in terms of meeting our student needs. Certainly, we want as much representation as possible. In terms of meeting the requirements of AB 101, though,
Yes,
there are a lot of districts that kind of caught them off guard.
yes.
And so then LACO reached out to school districts within Los Angeles County to see who is already offering ethnic studies courses. How can we capture that
Mhm.
and build off of those successes? So we were recognized as a bright spot
Yeah.
in Los Angeles County. And Baron and I were able to present at a professional development for other school districts. But that, part of leading is also making sure that you're constantly improving. So we definitely hear you, and that's why we're trying to build capacity in our teachers and pass as many new course proposals that are doing justice and doing right by our kids. So
Yeah, absolutely. And congrats on the letter that's here in this presentation for the bright spot. And so the drafted ethnic studies courses, I'm just curious, the 3 that are listed, can you just give a snap of what each of those 3 are?
Do that?
Ethnic cultures, English 10, Art 1, and US history.
Oh, I can talk about the English 10.
I just want to hear a little bit about each of them.
Sure. So I can talk about the English 10 ethnic cultures, and then I'll let the 2 of them talk about the others. So English 12 ethnic cultures is a curriculum that was built several years ago with a cohort of interested English teachers. And so we looked at how can we take what is literature, right? We teach literature. Literature always comes from a historical and social and cultural context. So how can we take that literature that comes from many diverse backgrounds, honor our students' backgrounds, give them a little bit of a cultural education and ethnic studies education through the lens of literature? That has gone so well in the 12th grade that we want to replicate that success, but with even more literature in the 10th grade. The goal is to give students across the district as many opportunities as possible to encounter this curriculum so that they, have lasting knowledge that comes out of their understanding of ethnic studies, and also so that they have multiple opportunities to meet that AB 101 requirement. We don't want that to be a barrier to graduation, which is why we have multiple courses so that if they, aren't successful in one course, they can encounter that material and meet the requirement in another.
I'm sorry, just a quick question too. So with I'm looking at the current courses and there's none at SOAR. So does that mean those SOAR students are taking the ethnic studies AVC courses?
That
Because
that
we
is
have
what that
to-
means. That's also
Okay.
part of the reason that I went over to SOAR Palmdale this year.
Okay.
So I was at Lancaster High School, and you'll notice that Lancaster High School has, I think, the highest number of ethnic studies course sections, right? And when I learned that there was an opportunity opening up at SOAR Palmdale, I wanted to go over there and help bring that to the campus. So next year, we're hoping to bring English 12 ethnic cultures and potentially English 10 ethnic cultures if that course is able to be approved in time.
Okay.
Did you want to hear about the other two
Just
proposals?
briefly, and then
Okay.
if you have questions, does anyone have questions? I'm always the one with questions.
Good job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, just briefly on those other two classes
Alright,
and then
so,
be quiet.
I okay. Yeah, you're talking about the drafted ethnic studies culture. Also, I would like to address something that you spoke on earlier in terms of the gaps. Before AB 101, I happen to have authored the African American Studies course and pressed for it to be available all over the district. And we just happen to be fortunate enough to have Francisco Gonzalez come over from LAUSD to Palmdale and author the Chicano Studies course. He's been teaching it for 16 years, and it just got here, and it's moving. It took a while to move the African American history courses around, and hopefully Chicano Studies will move much quicker. As you mentioned, it's 70% of the district, and as you also know, there's a updated course that's A through G, not just selective, that we hope to run by you as well. Now, U.S. history from the Chicano lens, since Mr. Gonzalez isn't here to talk about it. It's basically U.S. history. However, you still learn about all of the stuff that you'll typically learn about in U.S. history. However, it's taking a look at it from a particular perspective, from the Chicano, from the Chicano perspective, and it is, very, you're looking at the history of the whole country, but it's kind of Southwest specific. And, but so hopefully, we'll get that one in as well.
Great. And I
cannot
think we'll
speak
see
on-
those eventually up
Yes.
here because we'll have to approve the curriculum. So, okay. Any follow-up things?
No, I just said, I wanted to say that I know you guys touched base on the literature part. That's gonna be a big impact. I think it also is gonna be a big impact is on the political science of it and sociology side of it too. So it's gonna be a good, big eye opener for our kids in the future. Thank you for it. Thank you for this.
I just want to reiterate, good job. Congratulations on the award as well.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. We look forward to working with you in the future.
Likewise. All right, 6C district dress code, Ms. Williams.
Yes, good evening.
Good
Marissa Risling, our Director of Student Services, will provide an overview of how our current dress code policy was reviewed with various educational partners, the process utilized, and the recommended revisions for your consideration tonight. As you are aware already, these recommended revisions are on the agenda this evening as a first read.
Thank you, Chandelin. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, cabinet, and esteemed guests. I'm Marissa Risling. I'm your Director of Student Services, and I'm actually really excited to be up here presenting the proposed dress and grooming policy. As we know that this has been a heavy lift that we're actually here today to be able to present. We wanted to ensure that this was a very collaborative work, right? This collaborative work had to really shine through and say that our district is fostering a safe, inclusive, and equitable learning environment for all of our students. So I do hope that during this presentation and later on with the first read, you guys see that in the work that we did. Yeah, practiced this earlier. There we go. Okay, so our dress and grooming policy was last updated in 1994, right? 3 decades ago. I think I was sitting in Mr. Merkel's class with my then boyfriend, who's now my husband, during that time. right? 18 years later, the administrative regulation was then updated and, met my husband in Palmdale. I taught in Palmdale, so I think I was teaching in Palmdale when this was there. So it was absolutely a need for us to go ahead and bring this forward now. With all the federal laws, society's changing, the educational priorities, we really needed to be on pace with what's going on. So better late than never, right? Okay, so the work, I want to show you guys and really kind of explain like the process. Because when they said, hey, Marissa, we're going to have you present, I said, yay, right? Yes. Okay, so the district-wide survey, that was the first thing we had to do because we really needed to hear what our school community is saying. And we're not just talking about the school community as far as the staff. We're talking about what are our parents saying, right? What are our students saying? Because things have changed so much. So we want to ensure that our policies reflect what our community is saying. Besides the district-wide survey, we moved along to focus groups, which I'll talk a little bit later, and then forming of our dress code committee. So with our district-wide survey, we actually got 2,400 participants. With the help of our communications department, we were able to push this out for about 3 weeks. We actually got, representatives from all of our school sites to go ahead and say, how they felt about it, from students, parents, not just the teachers, admin, and as well as the support staff. Now, this survey is what was able to provide us that broad understanding of what diverse perspectives are out there, areas of concern, we're able to identify those, and then just really understand, like, what is it that we need to do to make sure that we're able to affect a school learning environment by supporting our students. Another note on this is that those that took the district-wide survey were able to kind of say, yeah, I want to be part of the focus groups as well. So we're able to get those focus groups going right from the beginning. I want to show you guys some of the survey results from it. So these questions were really just to say whether you agree, not agree, or undecided. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but it's pretty evident on here that only 32% agreed that the dress code is fair, right? It also showed that it was necessary to improve learning environment by 41% agreeing to that. And then 54% agreeing that it should not be based on the perspective of others. And, high 59 of just saying, yeah, we need to update it. The second half of the survey, 61% had agreed that it currently impacts some groups of students more than others. 64% had said that it should be considered when students want to express themselves. But the one that really stood out was the 69% agreed that students should not miss class for dress code policy violations. With that being said, all of these insights is what we used to be able to move the next process over, which was then our focus groups. So our focus groups were going to be taking the information from all of the data that we gathered from our surveys, and then from there be able to really dive a little bit deeper with the questioning. I'm happy to report that we actually had approximately 90 participants in these focus groups. It was about equal amount of parents, staff, and students. There's about 7 focus groups that we ran. I, as a facilitator, was pretty lucky because I was able to bounce around from every group because we did do them virtually after school to make sure that everybody was able to come in. We had our Spanish-speaking group as well for our parents, and just to kind of hear. And then at the end, being able to take all of that information and ask them specific questions that we had on the survey, such as really going deep on well, how does a dress code impact the education experiences for students, right? How can parents support? How can schools support? And then gathering that information. The best thing that our focus group was able to do was identify trends for us. And then you'll see these trends is what we used with our revisions on the proposals that you'll be seeing, right? We knew that we needed to have that educational focus, making sure that learning is happening. We wanted to ensure that there was that cultural sensitivity. We have a very diverse community. We wanted to respect the religious, the cultural, and the ethnic expressions of our school community. We wanted to maintain that gender neutrality, making sure that we don't have different expectations for different genders. We wanted to promote fairness, right? We want equitable. We want to make sure that nobody is being targeted disproportionately. Obviously, the modern trends, making sure that we're understanding what those societal, modern, and changing styles are. Also having those clear and specific guidelines for our parents, for our students, for our staff, and then really considering the socioeconomic impact. You know, not all students have the access that many students may have with clothing. So we wanted to avoid any unnecessary barriers to complications with the dress code. And then obviously body positivity. We want to make sure that we are not shaming or singling out certain students based on their body types. And then addressing those personal biases. We want to make sure that when this is applied, that it's applied with the rules consistently. So then we moved on because now we have gathered the information from our survey, our focus groups, and we're ready to get this dress code committee started. So the dress code committee was a diverse group of educational partners that were then able to move forward with creating a fair and effective policy. Our dress code committee approximately had about 22 members. We had representatives of students, parents, teachers, other staff. We had campus security, site principals, and district administrators who really support equity, Title IX, our homeless youth, our foster youth. And the most important thing with our dress code committee is that as we looked at surveys and the focus group information, we wanted to make sure that no person was going to be left aside. Each person's voice was given equal weight in the discussions, regardless of their position within the group. So we're like, how do we do this? How do we move now 22 representatives in order to come up with the policy? So our thing was we needed to strive for consensus. There was 2 questions that we posed throughout the whole process. So, and if we couldn't say yes to these, then we went back and kept doing revisions and kept looking at it. So the questions were, would this allow for a positive educational experience for all groups? Somebody was like, not too sure. We go back and look at it again. The second question we'd ask, are we able to actively support this or at the very least accept it? In order to be able to answer that, we're able to move forward. We also had to look at compliance. Because with federal and state anti-discrimination laws, it was really important that our team knew the compliance issues that we had to look at. For instance, Title IX, right? Federal civil rights law that prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex. But compliance is much more than just following regulations. We're talking about protecting student rights. We're talking about ensuring that our policies are applied fairly and consistently. We're looking at gender neutrality and equality, right? We want to have those universal expectations for everybody. We talk about those clear guidelines again. We also talk about non-sexualized policies, meaning that we should not overemphasize on student bodies in a way that disproportionately affects certain groups of students. Now, it was much more than writing policies for our committee. We wanted to make sure that we provide guidance to school sites in maintaining that and supporting a safe, inclusive, and equitable learning environment. We wanted to be clear and consistently applicable throughout and be non-discriminatory and unbiased. Now, we did look at some sample policies. These 4 California school districts did share on their websites. They updated recently. But beyond that, beyond looking at this, we made it very clear that we wanted to strike a balance in ensuring that our dress code remains fair, inclusive, and legally compliant, while still maintaining those clear expectations. So I think you'll see as you look at our revisions, these were the main principles of making sure that we present these proposals to you, that all students are to be treated equitably, that we support all students to develop a body positive self-image, and you remove unnecessary barriers to school attendance. And with that, like I mentioned, you'll be seeing the first read for these revisions. We do believe truly that we have representing a meaningful commitment to fostering a safe, inclusive, and equitable learning environment for all of our students. I do want to share that I do have a student representative, a parent representative, and as well a teacher representative, plus many more. But I'd like to introduce Fotini Carmount. We have Kaylin David, and Baron Gardner said he was going to stick around, right? I also do have, if you guys were part of our dress code committee, if you wouldn't mind standing up because it was such a heavy lift for you guys, and I appreciate all the work that you did. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to thank you and open to any questions. If you wouldn't mind, I would like for Fotini to share one quick thing from this experience on what she wants to do now when she goes to school in the fall. Here.
Good evening. My name is Fotini Carmouth. I'm a senior at SOAR Lancaster, and I joined this committee last year as a junior because I'm very interested in public policy. And I also, as a student, I have, especially as ASB president, I have to hear a lot of students complaining and then feeling targeted, and they feel like they can't do anything but complain. And then being the SOAR student I am, I was like, well, I'm going to try to make the change. And so I joined this committee, and I was really surprised and impressed because a lot of times students want to share a voice and sometimes feel let down when their voice isn't really heard. But in this committee, every single person from the students to the adults didn't just consider what we said or heard it. It was part of the actual like policy, even the wording, because we talked a lot about how wording is what's really important because students and parents aren't going to see this process. They're not going to see this meeting. They're not going to see our virtual meetings where we talked about this. What they're going to see is the wording that's maybe inside their planner or on the district website. And so I was really grateful for this opportunity. It motivated me to continue public policy and hopefully declare it as a double major or minor this fall. Thank you.
Caitlin, do you want to share a few words, if you guys don't mind? Thank you. One of our parents.
Yeah, I'm a former parent of several high school students. I'm a foster parent. So the students that I enroll in the district usually come with pretty intense challenges in their personal life. Kids coming straight out of juvenile hall that came with a trash bag of what they came in with 9 months ago. Kids who came with a garbage bag full of their clothing the night before they left their family's house, and maybe it has roaches on it. That's pretty extreme examples. I'm also a teacher in the Lancaster School District. And we went through this process 2 years ago, amplifying student voice. I'm an ASB director. So this is a pretty personal project for me. Not only does it impact my children, it also impacts the children that are in my classrooms every day that'll eventually become your children as they promote and go into the high school district. It's really great when we can align policies so that the families can see that we're aligned in our vision of creating positive relationships, honoring the backgrounds that our students come from, letting students show up as they are for who they are, and building relationship with them on how they present themselves. Every single one of us gets dressed every day and puts on something that we hope represents who we are to the world, whether it's something with your cosmetics, a bold tie, your favorite pair of shoes. Every one of us presents ourselves to the world, and our students are whole people also. They deserve to be seen in their wholeness and the way that they show up and present themselves to the world. I can attest that in this past year, after we've revised our policy with student voice involved, it's been phenomenal to just see the change and how students come to school presenting themselves. No longer do we have kids sitting in in-school suspension rooms because they refuse to take a hood off because their hair wasn't done, or they had their sunglasses on because they've been crying all morning and didn't want anyone to notice, or they were kicked out of class because they had their slides on. We did want to ensure, of course, as a teacher, that our students are prepared for the learning environment, that they're safe, that they're not wearing offensive things. So as I come to you today as a representative, I'm wearing a lot of hats: an educator hat, a parent hat, also a community servant hat. I believe Ms. Mann was on our board previously when we went through that process, so you can speak to that. But I just appreciated the board's support on it because it made a profound difference for 14,000 students a year who get to show up to school and be welcomed, not judged for how they're showing up. And the biggest difference to me was the shift from disciplinary action to corrective action. If a student shows up and they're in something that they shouldn't be in, we're not shaming them. We're not telling them you're not a part of our community and you're not allowed to be here. We're saying, let us help you get into what you need to be in so you can be a part of our learning community. You're welcome here. And I hope that the board can support these changes as well.
Mr. Nehan, do you have an application? I think we pay our, Mr. Millings probably could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. We actually pay pretty well here in this district. So we're
I have our contact information.
okay. Somebody get her an application. Thank you.
Questions? I have questions, but I would like Mrs. Mann, do you have questions? Mr. Hughes? Oh, okay. Comments?
Outstanding job. I know this was a tough, I actually punted this to Carla. That last president was no good. This one's really great. I punted this because it was a big lift
Mhm.
and it looks like you guys did a great job. And I really appreciate everybody that put into this. It's a tough one. And wow, that's all I can say is wow.
Mhm.
That's we produce that. See
Yep.
what I'm saying? That right there, those are our kids. That's
Mhm.
amazing. And if you want to come back to be a teacher, we pay well also. So, all right. That's my comment, Madam President.
Thank you.
Trustee Hernandez, any comments or questions?
I just have one question.
Yes.
I just have one question. You said that the survey went out, the communications team helped you release a survey. How was the survey released to the parents and students and staff?
So it was sent out as an email. It was also posted on our AVUHSD newsroom on website as well. And then as reminders went out, we kept sending the link for the survey. And it was actually a Google form, which was really easy, had it in English and in Spanish for them to take.
And then the meeting, the focus groups were all via Zoom?
Yes. Yes, we wanted to make sure that it was done after work hours and we were able to capture as many friends. And we had parents that were on like a soccer game, listen, in the background participating.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sanchez?
Just want to say I'm very impressed with this whole presentation. Thank you. It's gonna, not stop but minimize the bullying and stuff like that. That's something that I would like to see to improve in our schools
Agree.
everywhere. But this is a good start. This is
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yes, as this is our first read and discussion, I want to use this time for discussion. I first was completely surprised that it has been since 1994 because I was in high school myself sitting, and so I'm glad we're here. So thank you, Mr. Hughes, for for punting it now. So where in the policy will we address piercings and tattoos?
That's a great question. So as we look that there's certain items or accessories that cannot be a danger, right? So if that piercing appears to be a danger or self-harm to others, that would be something. In regards to the tattoos, if it's depicting anything that a student under that cannot wear, where it's like vulgarity or some type of message, obviously that would fall under that line there.
But where is that? Because I looked and I didn't see what
Yeah,
that
it would fall
is.
more along the lines of like the clothing and the accessories under the student cannot
Oh,
wear.
okay. So accessories you're labeling as a tattoo.
It could be, yes.
Is there a way that we could just be clear about that and say the word tattoo?
We absolutely could.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then
and we'll take any feedback.
I just think about workplace, right? There are
Right.
some workplaces that don't allow tattoos showing, so they'll
Mhm.
have to wear a long sleeve or those sorts of things. Now, of
Mhm.
course, if somebody has a tattoo on their face, I mean, that's going to be hard to hide. And that is, as you say, who they are
Mhm.
and maybe where they've come from. But just so that we're thinking about the tattoos and the piercings. And if a piercing, trust me, I've seen piercings that they're really pointy and they could be very dangerous, but who is going to be the one to determine if it's dangerous? So I think that's a part of the conversation that needs to be discussed as well.
Absolutely.
So that was kind of the two, hold on. Oh, okay. So I did ask the question about the definitions of gang-related apparel, and that's the timeline, but Mr. Nehan told me that that's an in real life, in real time, excuse me.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Just to be clear on that. Yes, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, 60, discussion about the Parent Advisory Committee, Mr. Nehan.
So back in 2023, the board took action to create a parent advisory committee, and then due to some unforeseen circumstances, nothing ever came of it. So Ms. Corona asked me to bring this back for discussion to get some direction from the board.
Just for the record, I did appoint my representative. We were waiting for others. Now, I think we should extend it to the other two new board members. You guys have the ability to take a parent, somebody from the community, and you have the ability to appoint to this parental advisory committee. So you have an appointment, Cynthia, you have an appointment. You two still have appointments, and Mr. Nehan gets an appointment as well, just so everybody's on the same page. So find a person, let's get it going. I'll still stick with my, well, I guess I could move, President, you can you can pick the president if you want, because you're the new president. I'll move my guy down to just
Remember?
a member.
Okay, yeah, because I think because one of the things we were trying to do is figure out the goals and objectives for this parent committee, because we already have a district parent advisory committee, but this is from
This is
the
our
board,
district
the
level,
board
yes.
only. So it's kind of a place that we can talk at a different level with the board in mind. So something to think about. Mr. Nian, can you remind the month that we talked about, so that if the new board members just want to see what we had talked about in the minutes?
I can share that with them,
Yes, that's
the
fine.
same document we shared with you.
Yes.
And then on the name, I would recommend renaming this committee so there's no conflict with the LCAP compulsory committee parent advisory.
Okay.
And we can bring back some different names.
Okay.
And that's
if-
a separate, this is a parental committee for the district. That's more of an LCAP. It's more regulatory.
Correct.
So
Correct.
this would be actually setting good stuff. So.
Yeah, and really just hearing voices from parents. So
Yep.
eh,
So pick a good one.
So I just have a question. Since we're broken up into districts, would it be a parent or a representative from our district, or is it at large?
At large. You can pick
at
anybody.
large, we decided it was at
Yeah,
large.
you can pick anybody.
I mean, I would hope that we don't have everyone from Quartz Hill, but we didn't put a criteria there. And they don't need to be parents right now. So they don't have to have a enrolled child in our high school district.
And is it a monthly meeting? Is it a bi-weekly meeting?
We haven't set the parameters.
Oh, so you haven't said anything?
We-
No. So you still-
I appointed mine and no one else got appointed, and they kind of just.
It paused. So we're trying to revive it. I mean, I definitely don't think it's a monthly situation. Probably every other bi-monthly or quarter. Yeah,
It'll be a little bit more realistic.
yes.
Okay.
More realistic at a quarter.
So pick a good one.
Yes. Okay, any other discussion there? Great. 6E and AVSTA report, Mr. Vinsco.
Good evening, board members. Just a quick report from AVSTA. Me and the other fellow districts are kind of working on just looking at the policies of the transportation agency. It's been a while since they've been updated, so we're going to be going through billing. We're going to be going through how they assess fees and all that good stuff, working with the technology that they currently have, looking at new technology. So looking forward to that in the next couple months so that we can be have an agency that is as efficient as we are. So yeah, that's all I have to report.
And Kevin, can update on hiring on bus drivers?
That's one of the
vacancies, what we're doing to increase the numbers.
That is something that all three board members, as the two other districts, Lancaster and West Side, are looking at, because it is a problem with having enough bus drivers. So that's something that we'll address through the policy revisions and things like that.
And then it's potentially causing the schools to expend more capital to get buses if we don't have drivers.
Correct. Yeah, working with them. And then, like I said, from our standpoint, I will start looking at other options in case we have to, just so we have multiple options. It's always good to have backup when it's necessary.
Thank you, sir. And
Of course.
And you're the president, so.
We'll make it happen.
All
I'll
right.
take after the good lead that I have up here.
Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Vinsco. All right. 6F from AVTA, Mr. Michael Millings. Thank you. Great, thank you. And G from CSEA, Karen White. Good evening, Ms. White and guest.
Good evening. I want to thank you for this opportunity. Kind of give you an update. We are still in negotiations with the districts. We've met several times. And this week we will be meeting with those people that have been acknowledged as recipients of the reclassification. So CSEA will be meeting with them to give them the district's proposal, so then we can also bring that back to our table. So that's where we're standing right now. I do want to take this moment to introduce our new labor relations representative from the Fresno field office. This is Jennifer Renner. And she will be with our chapter and the Antelope Valley Union High School District, as well as the Palmdale School District. She may have a few words for you.
Thanks, Karen. Hi, everyone. Good to meet you. As Karen mentioned, my name is Jennifer Renner. I'm going to be the Labor Relations Representative for the classified staff here at the district. I come with about 8.5 years of experience with CSCA. I was previously in our Glendale office. I've represented districts as small as Fillmore Unified and Santa Paula Unified, all the way to as big as LA Unified. And so I just look forward to continuing to build the chapter's union power, to continue to have a collaborative working relationship with the district. And I really look forward to just working together to empower our staff and to make sure that we have longstanding employees here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Good to meet you.
Miss Jennifer, what was your last name again?
It's Renner, Renner.
Thank
Kind of
you.
like Jeremy Renner from, from the Marvel Universe,
Yes,
but
yes.
just one N.
One N.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, H, public comments from the floor for agendized items. Are there any comments from the public on agendized items?
Yes, we have one.
The public is invited to address the board on any agenda item. To address an item on the agenda, speaker forms must be given to the designee before the board president chair announces his item. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the total time for public input shall be limited to 20 minutes. Only one person is permitted to stand at the podium at a time. No speaker may relinquish the time allotment to any other speaker. During public comments, the board listens to concerns issues. The board may ask questions for clarification purposes only. The law prohibits the board from entering into a dialogue with the public or taking action on items not on the agenda. On our one comment, Stephanie Oberg. Stephanie Oberg. This is on agenda 6G from CSEA.
Hello, board and cabinet. My name is Stephanie Oberg, and I am a classified employee here at this district. I would like to bring to the board and the cabinet members' attention how classified staff are an integral part of the school district. As such, I ask that you look at all that the classified staff contributes to the support of teachers, students, and the district itself. We all understand about sustainability, inflation, and the budget. We just ask for fair compensation and respect for the job that we come and complete every day for the school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Oberg.
Oh,
we have a
no, not clear. I'm just going to make a comment because I have the ability to make a comment. Just so you know, this board, I can tell you the majority, and now we have two more, and I think it's the major majority. We support our staff. Our goal is to make you the highest paid, best benefited, and we're here to, of course, fiscally responsible. We want the best paid, best benefited because we want the best. So
I look forward to that. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, public comments from the floor for non-agendized items. Are there any comments from the public for non-agendized items?
Yes, we have four.
Four. The public is invited to address the board on any matter not on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the board. To address an item not on the agenda, speaker forms must be given to the designee before the board president chair announces this item. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the total time for public input shall be limited to 20 minutes. Only one person is permitted to stand at the podium at a time. No speaker may relinquish a time allotment to another speaker. During public comments, the board listens to concerns issues. The board may ask questions for purposes of clarification. The law prohibits the board from entering into a dialogue with the public or action item on items not on the agenda. The first, Monica Dobson. The topic, proposed gas station next to Palmdale High School. Good evening, Ms. Dobson. Uh-oh.
That's really scary. Good evening, Madam President. Yes, I'm here to speak on behalf of the community of East Palmdale, surrounding Palmdale High School. For those of you that are not aware, the city this evening actually tabled the approval of a gas station next door to Palmdale High School. And I think that's very important because, for example, this is in your area, Ms. Corona, And I think it's very important that this board speaks out for its student population as well as its community who live in the area, which is what I do. For multiple reasons. One, we have health issues. The gas station in not only a neighborhood, but right next to a high school could pose. We have fragile students on our campuses. They claim that they have walls that they're going to put up, but guess what? Stuff goes over walls. Hydrogen tanks, hydrogen gas tanks are going to be put in as well. They're supposed to have 4 pumps, hydrogen pumps, which are notorious for exploding. Another concern that we have as members of our community is if you've never been around a high school campus at the Bell, when we get out at 340, it is a game of human Frogger out there, and it's dangerous as it is when you think about traffic and kids literally crossing the street where there's no crosswalks, running through traffic, cars slamming on their brakes. I don't think that they even considered this or thought about the fact that this is dangerous for that aspect. People turn left when they're only supposed to turn right out of our parking lot as it is. So now they're going to put a gas station there. It's going to increase the traffic concerns and the dangers. We have obviously the crime that will be increased at that point. We are already seeing an increased homelessness population hanging out in front of our high school at the lot where they're proposing to put this gas station. I know they hang out on the back of our campus because my girls and myself clean out our dugouts. And so we know that they have slept in our dugouts overnight and we're cleaning those out. And I don't have gates on my dugouts so they can get in. Yes, that's something that I'm working on to try and figure out how to fund those gates. And last but not least is crime. We already have an issue with fights. We already have an issue with regular crime in neighborhoods as it is. And we are going to see an increase in this. And if they do put up that wall between the gas station and the area between our school, all that's going to do is become an encampment or a place for things to happen even worse. And so as a concerned citizen of that neighborhood, as a teacher who teaches at Palmdale High School, which is my high school, my alma mater, I implore this board to get involved, to speak to the city of Palmdale to prevent this from moving forward. Again, they did table it tonight and it's supposed to be pushed to the next meeting, but they're saying that to table it again, if that board member does not show up, or if that council member does not show up, it has to be proposed to be tabled again. So I implore you guys to get involved in this, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Any clarification needed? No. All right.
It's on the corner of 25th East and Avenue R.
All right, Chloe Solis. Miss Chloe Solis. Protesting and suspension clinic.
Good evening. You have to forgive me. I forgot my glasses, so could be squinting a lot. Good evening. I just wanted to speak today on behalf of Cancel the Contract on student walkouts and political speech at school. I know that there has been various concerns of both, staff, teachers, parents, and the like about the current or the past protests and walkouts planned by students. And while students are required to attend school and the administration are able to take corrective action on absences or tardies, no student is to be subjected to harsher punishments because of missing school due to a political protest or walkout. And suspension is not an appropriate punishment for any unexcused absences unless all other means of correction have been used and have not made a difference per section 48900.5 of the Education Code and section 48260 of California Education Code also states what is considered truancy, which is a 3 full day of absences and being late for more than 30 minutes per period without a valid excuse. Also, blocking any school exits is not an appropriate or viable alternative because it is a fire hazard. So if that does happen, a student should notify its parents, guardian, and superintendent's offices immediately. We just wanted to talk about that because we do believe that protest is, it's obviously it's a First Amendment right, and students should be able to do that. And I also wanted to remind community board, everybody here, that Greta Thornburg, Shu Tiskat Martinez, Mari Copney, Ruby Bridges, Barbara Johns, all activists, all have protested, staged walkouts, all started at the young age of 8. So, you know, students should be able to be afforded those same rights. And I also wanted to mention to everybody here that we will be hosting a suspension defense clinic tomorrow. If for anyone who wants more information, I have flyers. And we will also be doing a community theater program for young adults, teenagers, all ages. We would really like, if anybody's interested, you guys are all more than welcome to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Solis. Marcos Alvarez, topic of immigration.
Good evening, everyone. Thank
Good
you for
evening.
allowing me to speak. I'm going to echo up what the young lady just said, the rights, but I'll share a little bit of history, right? Does anybody remember 1968, the walkouts? I attended Garfield High School, and when I was 7 years old, the walkouts were happening around me by brave students like what they're doing now. And the issue at that time was equal education to people of color. So the history of unjust education is built here in America, and Latinos and people of color has fought just to be on the same page as their counterparts. And we move on to the 1980s. In the 1980s, again, Garfield High School, which I was a student at, they're experiencing educational racism. So they took a test. Various students took a test to the tune of statistics. All of them passed with flying colors. The movie wasn't made for your liking. The movie was to make a point. And the key of that movie was they had to take the test again. The State Department of Education said, how can someone in disfranchised, marginalized communities score such a high score? So there's the pattern of what we experience as people of color. And in ending, I want to say this, Chicano. That's just one form of Chicano. It's just disheartening to me that we're here in 2025, that we're just entertaining the history of how Mexican Americans and other Latinos and people of color is now being put in the form of ethnic studies right here in 2025. It should have already been done, along with Asian, along with African, and etc. That is the history. That is the culture. That is what moves 68% right here in the Antelope Valley. We purchase, we consume, we buy homes, regardless of our immigration status. We move the Antelope Valley. And as the young lady said, I hope this body, this new body, considers how when these students brave enough to walk out and continue to walk out, the history shows of education, and now because of what their grandparents and their parents went through to live a better life, consider all those before you make a decision on you're going to suspend them or mark them absent, because that's a small price to pay for better, equal education for all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa Biek, CSEA Negotiations. How do you pronounce your last name? Oh, it's an L, sorry. Beal, Lisa Beal.
We do a lot of typing here, so my handwriting is not always great.
Thank you, welcome.
My name is Lisa Beal, and I am a classified employee here at the district. I'm speaking as I'm very concerned for the morale of our membership at this moment. Over the years, CSEA has made numerous concessions on raises, bonuses, to keep our out-of-pocket costs on benefits lower, because we are working with part-time employees, not just full-time. The membership wants to come to a resolution on our contract. This is the longest we've gone without a contract. We want to engage in good faith negotiations. To come to a resolution that works not just for CSEA, but for the district as well. I really look forward to hearing more about this in the very near future and hope that we have some good outcomes very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just to comment, we really do understand the importance of all the classified employees for our district. We know that if it wasn't for you and your sacrifices and the time that you make for our district, the schools you're just an integral part of how well they run. And we're grateful to see so many of you here taking part and speaking up. I think this is the first time we see so many. So we encourage you because we support you. I hope so.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. 7, educational service action items. Open, conduct, and close public hearing to determine the level of support for the renewal of the charter of the academies of the Antelope Valley. Pursuant to Education Code 4765, the Board of Trustees is required to hold a hearing to determine the level of support towards extending the charter for the academies of the Antelope Valley Charter. The board will open the public hearing at 8:16. 2, comments from the staff or board.
If I may, Madam President, this public hearing for the renewal petition of AAV is held in order to determine the level of support from the community and to give staff an opportunity to present an overview of the school's educational program. So I'd like to introduce our principal of AAV, Dr. Andrew Gladfelter.
Welcome. Thank you.
Good evening, board. I'm Andy Gladfelter, principal at Academies of the Antelope Valley. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to present our petition for charter renewal. Academies of the Antelope Valley, or AAV, is a dependent charter school of the district with you as our governing board. In the eyes of the state, we are one school, but our students know us by their connection with our 3 campuses, Knight Prep Academy, SOAR Prep Academy, and Virtual Academy. We've been named a U.S. News and World Report Best High School, a California Gold Ribbon School, and a Project Lead the Way Distinguished School. We serve 710 full-time and 472 part-time students, a total of 1,182 students served. I'd like to walk you through each of our campuses and then discuss data. Virtual Academy serves students in 7th through 12th grades in a fully online asynchronous environment. We offer 13 advanced placement courses and 1 dual enrollment course, College Life and Management, in partnership with ABC. We have 4 career technical education pathways, visual arts, which includes Art 1, photography, AP Studio Art, illustration, fashion, interior design. We offer business, which is business management and ownership, digital marketing, a practicum, and next year, thanks to your support, financial literacy. Culinary arts, which includes culinary arts and hospitality management and culinary arts 2, as well as computer science, including AP computer science principles. Students must live in California to attend AAV. Since our students learn at home, they use Remind, like raising their hand, to get a quick answer. Our teachers also hold Google Meet video conference meetings with students to offer extra support, to elaborate on concepts taught in class, and we offer in-person office hours as well. At Virtual Academy, clubs include Black Student Union, Bible Club, Crochet Club, CSF, Hispanic Heritage Club, Senior Senate, and ASB. Again, our full-time enrollment at Virtual Academy is 220. We serve 472 part-time students at comprehensive sites who may take 1 or more courses from Virtual Academy. We recognize that the comprehensive high school is the best learning environment for most students, but for a variety of reasons, our students come to us looking for an alternative to homeschool education, so we fit a niche within our community. Darwin, in the middle, was with us when he played soccer for the El Salvador national youth soccer team in a variety of countries. He spent the fall of 2024 in Boston playing for a Major League Soccer Next team, and today he's at UC Irvine playing Division I soccer. Virtual Academy offered him the flexibility to continue his rigorous studies. The photo on the left is from our field trip to the Norton Simon Museum, and the picture on the right is from our in-person culinary arts lab at Quartz Hill High School. 2 of our seniors were recognized for their academic achievement this fall by the city of Lancaster, and the mayor was so impressed with them that at that meeting, he gave them $1,000 college scholarships on the spot. Knight High School is named for Pete Knight, and Knight Prep is named for his son, United States Congressman Steve Knight. Our clubs at Knight Prep include ASB, 8th grade club, CJSF, a drone club, and Skills USA, which has competed at the state and national level. All of our 8th graders each make their own electric guitar at night prep, starting with raw lumber and learning how to use CNC, CorelDRAW, laser cutter engraver, power tools, and hand tools to create their own electric guitar, including soldered humbuckers by the end of the year. This week is Engineering Week, so happy Engineers Week too. Today we had engineers from Northrop Grumman doing hands-on activities with every student at night prep and SOAR prep. And one of the Northrop Grumman volunteers at night prep talked about how what he saw with our students doing the guitar activity in class was something that he would see at the university level. He was very impressed with it. SOAR prep on the other side of the valley next to Quartz Hill High School serves 7th and 8th graders and a total of 220 students. Like night prep, all students take AVID and an engineering class every day. SOAR prep clubs include Black Student Union, ASB, Bible Club, newspaper, prep squad, get it, prep squad, which is cheerleading, yearbook, and theater club. Some of our recent field trips include California Institute of the Arts, or CalArts, California State University Northridge, Cal State LA, Cal State San Bernardino, and we are going this spring to UCLA, AVC, and the Getty. Our alumni include Jalen Naylor, who plays for the Minnesota Vikings. This year he had 6 touchdowns in the NFL. A few of our students attended the Society of Experimental Test Pilots annual symposium, and kids got to meet Randy Bresnick, former commander of the International Space Station. We nominated Grayson for a $1,000 college scholarship, and when she won, she got to meet Dr. Ben and Candy Carson. Our alumni include, I'm sorry, forgive me. Let's see. Oh, I'm missing one here. Okay, that's okay. So our students at the preps participate in these sports, and this is open to 7th and 8th graders at Virtual Academy. As well, Virtual Academy students in 9th through 12th grades are eligible to play sports or participate in JROTC at their high school of residence. Because we are a charter school, California law is specific that we must hold a randomized lottery for admission to the school. We have these preferences, and I'd like to ask the board for permission to add the 4th. I learned from the education liaison at Edwards Air Force Base that the vast majority of transfer orders to Edwards are received between May and July. But when families arrived, we have already completed the lottery. We're already full. So not intentionally, but in practice, we exclude military families. So we propose overloading the preps by up to 4 students each. For military family members who receive permanent change of station or PCS orders between the end of the 30-day priority enrollment deadline, which this year was February 13th, and July 31st of this year, commencing with 2026. We have wait lists at every grade level in both night prep and SOAR prep. In looking at AAV's data on the California School Dashboard, our chronic absenteeism, suspension rate, college career readiness, and English language arts are all at the same performance color as the state of California. Our English learner progress is the same as the state of California in orange. The state average is 67 points below standard, and 2 of our biggest comparison districts are 76 and 91 points below. AAV is higher than the state average at 63 points below standard. While we have work to do, being above the state average speaks to the hard work of our teachers, staff, and our students in support of English learners. Our graduation rate is blue compared to yellow for California, and our math performance again matches the performance of the color of the state. This table breaks down AAV's performance by grade and by performance level compared to other local charter schools and local districts. The colors signify high and low numbers, not a particular performance band. The first table shows English language arts. So you'll see here grades 6, 7, 8, and 11, which are the tested grade levels on the Smarter Balanced Assessment. The percent met or exceeded combines level 4 and level 3, those that met and those that exceeded. And standard not met, you want to be as low as possible. So you see there that our school is doing well compared to local districts and compared to local charters. And then here is that data for math. So again, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then this will also be given to you too, so you can take a look at this data over more time. But again, what we're seeing here is that Academies of the Antelope Valley in that first row is doing well compared to local districts. And while we're never satisfied, we're always looking for continuous improvement. We are happy with the performance that we have so far.
I'm
I
sorry,
think
can
that one of
Can you
the,
go back one? I just
Please.
want to make sure I'm reading this correct.
Yes.
So if I look at the last row for academies of Antelope Valley standard not met level 1. So is that saying 54% do not meet the standard?
that is correct.
Okay, just make sure I was reading this right. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the number we want to get as low as possible. At last year's 12th grade graduation, Emilio was one of our valedictorian speakers. And one of the things he said was that in elementary school, he was told he would never graduate from high school. And to say, look at me now on that stage was something that speaks to the work that's put together by all of our teachers, all of our staff, are certificated and classified across AAV to make outstanding achievement happen for students. So, thank you. I want to open up to any questions.
Any questions? No, I just thank you. And I was actually at the graduation last year and I saw and heard Emilio's speech and we spoke and no, this was very thorough and comprehensive and thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was there as well. Very impressive. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Comments from the public?
Don't have any comment cards.
No, I don't. Okay, so we're gonna close the public hearing at 8:26. Right, Mr. Nehan? Okay. Okay, B, review proposed revisions to board policy administrative regulation BPAR 5132, first read and discussion. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees review the proposed revisions to the board policy and administrative regulations as presented, first read and discussion. Are there any points of discussion, boards, for this? No, none for me either. All right. C, Healthful Living textbooks and instructional materials review. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees review the textbook Essential Health Skills for High School. Please do so. Thank you. I've learned a lot. I read through those books. Okay, 8, Student Services Action Items. A, License and Operational Agreement STS 25078, County of LA, Department of Children and Family Services. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve license and operational agreement STS 25078 with the County of LA Department of Children and Family Services. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Can I get a second? Any discussion here? All right, no discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Motion passes by unanimous. 9, Personnel Services Action Items. Approval of short-term staff permit. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve and direct the Assistant Superintendent of HR to submit a short-term staffing permit allowing the individual to teach in the subject area indicated. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. 9B, Personnel Services. So this one I would like to table because this is the job description for arts industry professionals. So how do I need to move forward with that? To table it?
Make a motion to table.
I'll second.
We'll table till March 6th because there were. I don't want to vote on it tonight. Yeah, or
So then
isn't tabling, pull it? Pull it.
March 6th.
Yes, we're pulling it
Pull
till March 6th, please. Yes, okay. Thank you. C, Agreement for Professional Services, PS 2024-2506, Centegix Safety Platform. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the agreement for professional services, PS 2024-2505 with Centegix Safety Platform. May I get a motion?
I'll make that.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion? No. Yes, I want to say something too.
This actually came out of our safety committee meeting. This is a very important piece of equipment that is gonna protect our students, staff, and community. So I'm very, thank you, Mr. Nehan, and staff for bringing this forward and making this a safer school.
And then just my discussion point was, if we could, the board can get a detailed plan of implementation. So the timeline, I think you were gonna look into that.
Yes, it's not a part of the contract, but we do have a plan of implementation and looking at having this fully implemented no later than July 1st.
No later than July 1. Okay, thank you. All right, so we have a vote and discussion. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none. Motion passes by unanimous. 10 business services action items. A, resolution for designation of the official representatives to the SIRMA Joint Powers Authority, resolution number 2024-2520. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the designation of the official representative to the SIRMAI Joint Powers Authority as presented. Can I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, unanimous, motion passes. B, adopt resolution number 2024-2525, resolution entering election results into the minutes and certifying to the Board of Supervisors of LA and Kern counties all proceedings in the November 5th, 2024 general obligation bond election. It is recommended the Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 2024-2525, entering election results into the minutes and certifying to the Board of Supervisors of LA and Kern counties all proceedings in the November 5th, 2024 general obligation bond election. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second that.
Any discussion? I just would like to say, wow, we have this bond, almost $400 million will be coming to our schools, and thank you voters for believing in this bond.
Madam President, it's actually gonna be more than that, probably with matching funds. So
Oh,
It's gonna double up.
Yeah.
awesome, wonderful. I'm
Clock is
super
ticking.
excited.
we got some ideas.
Yeah.
So, yes,
Good job, Mr. Nehan.
our kids are gonna be really taken care of even more than they already are now. All right, so any other discussion points? All right, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion passes by unanimous. The amendment to professional service agreement with Llewellyn Moody, Inc. for design subconsultants, construction documents, and reimbursable for the proposed college career preparation and adult training center project for Palmdale campus. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the amendment to the professional service agreement with Llewellyn and Moody, Inc., work authorization FM 3082 for a new amount not to exceed $282,453. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes by unanimous. Moving on to 11 administrative services action items. A, adopt board resolution number 2024-2526 Arts Education Month. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 2024-2526 Arts Education Month. I would like to make that motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? So I just would like to remind everyone of the great Prop 28 that is bringing another 3.3, and Mr. Vensko, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, approximately $3.3 million in funds for Proposition 28 with arts and music in schools. We've been working really hard on getting all of those funds spent, bringing in arts ed for this. So I'm just really, really excited about that. I wanted to read the resolution, but I'm not, because Mr. Hughes is going to give me a side eye. So just know it is such a great month of March. And the other goal is hopefully by March, we have the art hung up in our boardroom. That was our goal. All right. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passes by unanimous. B, adopt Board Resolution number 2024-25-27, National Nutrition Month. It is recommended the Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 2024-25-27, National Nutrition Month. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes by unanimous. C, adopt board resolution number 2024-25-28, National Social Work Month. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 2024-25-28, National Social Work Month. May I have a motion? Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I just would like to thank all the great social workers that have been a part of my life, my family's life, the community's life, and our kids' life. And you certainly deserve more than a month, but we're honoring you for that month. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Being none, motion passes by unanimous. D, 2025 CSBA Delegate Assembly Election. The Board of Trustees is asked to vote for no more than 2 candidates to serve on the CSBA Delegate Assembly. May I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Seeing none, passes. 12, approve consent agenda item. Approve items listed in the following consent agenda categories: educational services, student services, personnel, business, and administrative services. Actions proposed for the consent agenda are items consistent with adopted policies and approved practices of the district and are deemed routine in nature. The board will be asked to approve all of the items in the consent agenda by a single vote unless any member of the board would like the item to be removed from the consent agenda to be considered and discussed separately. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the items listed in the following consent agenda categories: educational, student, personnel, business, and administrative services as presented. Does anybody, do I do the motion? Motion, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? So is there anyone that would like to pull consent agenda items? Trustee Mann?
Nope.
Trustee Hernandez? Trustee Sanchez?
No.
Give me a moment, please. The 16A, just for discussion or calling it discussion, yes. And then J. 16J. Discussion only, yes. Oh, I'm still thinking. I'm still looking. I think they got them all. All right, discuss donations. Thank you all to the donors. I just want to pull that out and acknowledge we had a lot of great donations this month, this time around. So thank you very much. And then just for discussion, employee conference trip reimbursement schedule. I just want to make sure the board is aware that we are moving towards a do not approve trips after they've already happened board. So I've already spoke with Mr. Nehan about it. So just keeping that in mind. That's it.
All procedures.
Follow procedures, please. Yeah, I am. All right.
Just a question. How far in advance do the schedulers know when to schedule these trips?
Say the schedule. Like depending on whatever it is that they're going on a trip for. How is it? Do we already know next year going into next year or?
Some things, yes, not everything. Do we know? And some things come up after the time that we're able to get it on the agenda. And those, Dr. Grado has been working with staff, and the principals are well aware that ratifications are no longer a part of our practice. So some we do know in advance. Some conferences, some trips, especially student trips, we know well in advance. Some of them come up in a little shorter notice.
And what we talked about as well is that if they know that a conference is every year, they may not know the exact date, but at least if it could be put as a TBD or a general cost, then at least we know so that we're not going against the procedures. So Just wanted to bring that to your attention. All right, great. Any other discussion? Okay. So all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Being none, motion passes. Okay. 18, from the board superintendent. This was the opportunity to give another chance for public comments from the floor for non-agendized items. Are there any other comments from the public for non-agendized items?
I don't have any additional
Great.
cards.
Thank you. And then B, from the board or superintendent, Mr. San Gabriel. Mr. San Gabriel.
Good evening, everyone. I actually have quite a few things to report to you guys today, but before that, I just want to say I'm proud of like where the district is moving forward, especially with student representation with what we've heard from today. Whether that be the dress code, ethnic courses being taken, or just the students being represented like as a whole, especially as someone who comes from a minority, as an Asian American. It's very nice seeing that every student should be represented in their own ways because every student here is very different. And moving on to things I would like to report, I would like to report our biomed program here at Eastside High School that all of our seniors passed our portfolio defense, and this year we had the lowest amount to resubmit. Only six students to resubmit and represent their portfolio, which is the lowest we've had in quite a few years. And then I'd like to thank Miss Rosemary Mann and Ms. Hernandez for coming in on Friday, Valentine's Day, for checking out our campus during Valentine's Day, which just shows you guys the different possibilities that not just Eastside High School, but every campus that in the district offers to every student. And then following up on our meeting on February 13th, we have, I've spoken to some of the students and I've told them based on the ICC workshop, and they are interested in doing that during spring break, just depending on the circumstances of the date and the time as well, taking into factor as some of the students have different schedules and different spring break schedules as well. And then I've also communicated with Miss Kathy Calvert about other materials that we discussed during the ICC meeting. So we'll be having a virtual meeting this Thursday instead of a physical one to take into action what we discussing the different things like having more ICC meetings, student member responsibilities, as well as adding in the highlights for the campus, as well as just the concerns and issues as well that you would like to hear from. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nehan.
Thank you. So I just want to say to staff that are here and that are at home resting, I know you show up every day, each one of you, regardless of the level. Your efforts are recognized and appreciated. So we know how hard you work in support of our students. And then also for our presenters this evening, thank you for the time you put in to prepare and present. And it gives me great confidence to see any of you step to the podium. And it gives me great pride to lead all of you. So thank you.
Ms. Hernandez.
I want to take the opportunity also to thank Mr. John Lloyd for your hospitality. It was an incredible tour. I look forward to seeing all of our campuses. Palmdale was also huge, 80 acres. It was very incredible. I was very impressed with what the schools are doing and the staff and the students. And just thank you for your hospitality that day. It was really exciting to see what's happening in campuses. Thank you.
Mr. Hughes.
Right. I just want to say what an amazing board I have up here. I'm just going to keep bragging about this. These ladies and Miguel, you were included in this, are some of the best people I know. I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm Miss Mann, that's Hernandez. You guys are already jumping in the schools. I'm just absolutely thoroughly impressed. Also, I'd like to thank all our administrative staff out there, our cabinet, our principals, our vice principals, all the leaders out there. You guys are doing an amazing job. Keep up the good work, and we're very impressed with you. And what a great team we have here. So thank you.
Mr. Sanchez.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the presentations today. I think they were all great. Some of it touched home. I know it did. And I like to see that we're going for improvements, for moving up. All three presenters, the ethnics, the dress code, the other schools that I actually got educated on. There's a lot of good stuff going on. And yeah, it's one thing that I also like to do is hear what our public speaking, all the speakers were up there talking about. So I'll do my part. I can't speak on behalf of everybody else, but I'm gonna look into it and see what I can do as an individual too. Okay. Another thing is I want to congratulate, I don't know his first name, but I know his last name is Cabrera. I know he got 6th place in the CIF wrestling from Palmdale High School.
Ozzy.
Ozzy. Oh, just like his dad's name. Okay. I know his dad. Okay. Well, I know he got 6th place. No way. Ah, that's awesome. Well, I want to throw out a little shout out for him. Yeah. Say I said hello to him. All right. That's it.
Thank you. And then just lastly, I just want to report, well, first, thank you everybody for, I'm month 2 as board president. I'm still learning.
Great job.
I have great mentors throughout this entire area here. So thank you. Thank you for that, the grace and your patience with me as I learn. We did have an arts advisory meeting on January 27th. We are starting really great brainstorms of how we can get arts teachers here. And that's, you know, the really large question of the California state, but we're going to brainstorm here. I want to thank Mr. San Gabriel for your time on Thursday. We had a really great meeting with Trustee Mann, myself, and Mr. Nehan about one of my hopes is to really amplify the student leader here as a student board member. Huh? I said Trustee Mann. Oh, I did? Can I finish? And then
Yes,
we'll
you
get
can.
to, so
I
the
don't wanna
save the
take
best
wind
for
out of your
last.
sail, I'm sorry.
Sorry. They're like pointing at me. I'm like, what did I do?
Trying to be subtle.
I know. No, that didn't work. Subtlety for a theater person is not in the world.
Just forgetful. I just thought maybe I forgot what she was talking about.
No, it's all good. It's all
I
good.
think I missed it.
It's all good. But we had a great meeting. All this to say, great meeting. The student voices, we're going to think of new and innovative ways to bring the voice, and Mr. Nehan will help in that. And Mrs. Mann, you're next, last,
Don't worry, I
but
skipped the student.
certainly
So I
not
had to
least.
highlight it for me.
I have to highlight it.
Thank you.
It is.
Thank you.
It's
That's sad. I want to start off with, I was first time ever attending Eastside High School's music was the night of
The honors concerts.
Eastside. Beautiful. Your
It was the district
your
wide.
theater. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
district wide, but you put on a really good show. Very impressed with all the students and they're so talented. Beautiful theater at Eastside. Then we had the meeting with student council at Eastside High School. I think I should have just stayed at Eastside all week. Then with Cynthia Hernandez, trustee, we went and toured Palmdale High School and we toured Eastside High School. And I have to say thank you so much to the principals of those two schools, because your love really shows. It really shows, and it comes out in your students. Very impressed with all of the teachers, all of the students that we met that day. So much so that we have to go back. We have to do a second round, and still want to go to all the other high schools, Lancaster, Highland, and I'm sure we'll be equally impressed. But I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know you guys work so hard, and the proof is in the pudding. Those kids are absolutely amazing. And we just need to do more of that, I think. Trustee Hernandez had her son come with us, David, with his little camera. And we just blew it out of the water. We were like all over Facebook, all over Instagram, because I don't think that our community sees that. And they need to see that. Everybody needs to see the hard work that this district has done and has put us on the map. So I'm very impressed. Thank you for letting me represent you.
Thank you. Yes, mic drop. All right. Let's do action to be reported out for closed session 19D. May I please have a motion to approve administrative hearing panel recommendations for student expulsions and to order as presented of the expulsions of 4 students. Can I get a motion? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. 19E, during closed session, the board considered a final settlement agreement and general release STS 25077 OAH case number 2024-100915. By a vote of 5-0, the board took action to approve the final settlement agreement and general release. B, it is recommended that the board adjourn the meeting sine die. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion, I would like to close the meeting in memory of Robert Moore. Robert was hired as a paraeducator in 2006, and he served the district for 19 years. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Oh, we're out of here. Good job, man.
Good night, and thank you.
No, that was great.